Good day, everybody. How are you doing? Trust you are fine. My name is Sean Daniel, and I'm the creative director at BRM Technologies. And today we'll be talking about the meaning of graphic design, the purpose of graphic design, what makes graphic design important, who needs graphic design, the role of graphic design, and the types of graphic design. Like we promised, we were going to deliver a video to you guys, and that is what we are doing right now. We are men of our word. Now, moving straight into the class without wasting too much time, the first thing on our list is what is graphic design. Now, graphic design, let me go to present mode. What is graphic design? Graphic design, from Wikipedia's definition, is the profession and the academic discipline whose activities consist in projecting visual communication intended to transmit specific messages to social groups. Now, you will see that I've highlighted projecting visual communication intended to transmit specific messages to social groups. Now, you will notice that in graphic design, you are trying to project a concept, you are trying to project an idea, you are trying to project something, a message to a specific group of people visually. That is a summary of what graphic design is. Moving forward, we'll also explore other definitions of graphic design, because this is a limited definition of graphic design. Now, another definition of graphic design is graphic design uses visual composition to solve problems and communicate ideas through typography, imagery, color, and form. There's no one way to do that, and that's why there are several types of graphic design, which we will explore further down the road. Now, explaining this definition, you will see that it uses visual composition to solve problems. Now, before a client will reach out to you to do a design, there will be a problem. It's either trying to sell a product, it's either trying to raise awareness for his brand. So there is a problem that the graphic design task is meant to solve. There's no graphic design without a task. Now, going down the road, I will also show you a definition that makes people understand that graphic design is actually visual thinking, that it's without a problem, there's no point doing design. Design is actually thinking. Without a problem, there's no point doing a design. Now, there has to be a problem, and we will solve the problem by doing a design. Moving forward, another definition of graphic design is also known as communication design. Graphic designers are visual communicators who create visual concepts by hand or by using computers or computer software. They communicate ideas to inspire, inform, or captivate customers through both physical and virtual art forms that include images, words, and graphics. You will notice again communication design. You will notice again graphic designers are visual communicators. You will notice again they create concepts by using hand or using computers. Back in the days, graphic designers used to use their hands to draw banners, they use their hands to draw billboards, but now, because of technology advancements, we now have softwares that we use to do graphic design. But don't forget the main point in this. The graphic designers are communicators, and they don't communicate via words or communicate via text. They communicate by designs. They communicate by creating billboards. We've heard about the billboards. Now, why is the billboard there? Why did they put it there? Because they want to communicate a certain idea to the people that is looking at it. Now, we've already established that without a problem, there's no point doing a design. A design is meant to solve a problem. A design is meant to solve a problem. A design is meant to communicate a solution to the problem. Moving forward, this is a definition that I really like, and I feel like it makes the meaning of graphic design carry more weight. Now, graphic design is the organization and presentation of information developed through a creative process for a particular function. Now, this definition actually explains it lots better, because whenever a design is given to a graphic designer, he has to first organize and then present that information developed through a creative process. That creative process is the thinking behind the design. if there's a problem right now, you have to sit down and think about the solution, right? So the creative process is actually where the designer sits down and think about the solution. Now when he has a solution, he's going to make that into a design, and you know that that design is meant to solve a problem. That is why this is saying presentation of information developed through a creative process, the thinking process for a particular function. The function is the problem the design is meant to solve. So you will understand from the explanation that I've been giving since that graphic design has a thinking process in which that thinking process is meant to solve a problem. We don't do designs just for doing sake. We do it because there's a problem and we're trying to communicate something to the audience visually. Moving forward, the final definition of graphic design. In graphic design, this is not like a definition, but it's more of like an understanding to make you guys understand much better. In graphic design, we must first understand information, a message or brief, then research, think, imagine, and develop and create a solution. Still going back to what I've said, graphic design has to do with thinking. Graphic design has to do with solving problems. Graphic design has to do with communicating a solution to a problem to audience visually. Now, in this definition, you will see that you first have to understand the information. You first have to understand a message or a brief. Now, if you have been in the industry for a while, you will know that whenever a design task is given to you, they usually give you a brief. And what's in the brief? In the brief, they will state the problem, they will state the audience, they will state all these things. These are the things that makes you understand the problem that you are trying to solve. So when you know the problem, then you now go and research. Research includes Googling the problem, the audience, and things like that. Then you now think, which is the creative process we talked about, and then you now imagine. There is no designer that is not creative. Creativity is very important in the area of graphic design. You imagine, and then after imagining and thinking and going through the brief, then you now develop, you enter your software and develop and create a solution to the problem stated. That is the role of a graphic designer. Moving forward, that is the role of a graphic designer and the meaning of graphic design. Moving forward, we are going to go into the purpose of graphic design. Now, the purpose of graphic design is to make the organization that hired them recognizable and prominent. By using a variety of media, they communicate a particular idea or identity. Now, first of all, a graphic designer, even though you are not working for an agency now, if you are working for yourself, you definitely have a concept that you are trying to sell or you are trying to promote. That is why you want to do a design for that. Now, the reason why you are going to do that is because you want to make that either yourself or your brand or the people that hire you recognizable and prominent. The reason why Cowbell will hire a graphic designer today is because they have a new product and they want to let people know about that product. So they will hire a graphic designer in order to make their brand recognizable and prominent and to communicate a particular idea or identity. Remember, there's no point doing a graphic design if it's not solving a problem or if it's not solving a problem. So the whole idea behind graphic design is to communicate a particular idea or identity, and this idea or identity comes first from the problem, then doing a design to deliver a solution to that problem. Moving forward, these medias include fonts, that's the things that people use to solve this problem. At the end, what the design is going to entail. It includes fonts. They can use fonts, shapes, colors, images, print design, photography, animation, logos, and billboard. Whichever way you want to do. Some people might reach out to you as a graphic designer and they want to make a logo and they want that logo to be animated. These are all jobs of a graphic designer, depending on which lane you choose to specialize in. So graphic designer often collaborate on projects with artists, multimedia animators, and other creative professionals. Now, graphic design is something that you can do by yourself. They usually have people working with them. They usually have somebody telling them, okay, this is how I want it to be, and they usually have people it's not just a one-man job. So people is a collaborative field whereby you have to learn and work with people. So that's what it's just trying to state here. Graphic designers collaborate on projects. Moving forward, why is graphic design important? Now, graphic design is important because it optimizes your marketing efforts across all channels and is key to building a professional brand. Now, you will see that even if you are working for yourself or a company, the reason why a company will hire a graphic designer is because they have a product that they want to market and they have a product that they want to push out. Now, they don't want to push this product out without the graphic design is actually maybe like the final step of, okay, we've made a product, let's now send it out. The graphic designer is the one that's going to like sell that product to people, because they're not going to go one by one and start meeting people. They are going to create a design that they will place somewhere that people will see, and then people will like, okay, what's this? Let me go and buy this thing. That's the work of a graphic designer. The reason is because there's a marketing team which will now work with the graphic designer in order to communicate what they are selling well to the customer. So the whole point of graphic design is to optimize the marketing effort of the company or your company across all channels. These channels are, right now, there's Facebook, Instagram, all the social media channels, there's the billboard channel, that's the traditional way of marketing, and the all various channels. I'm sure you're all familiar with these channels, but the whole point is to optimize the marketing effort of your company or the brand is a key in building a professional brand. If a company doesn't have a good graphic design, it's going to look shabby and it's not going to look professional. Moving forward, graphic design is important because first impression is the last impression. So it's important for a positive and lasting impression for any business. Good graphic design will ensure you make the right one. Now, like I said, whenever you meet somebody and the person doesn't treat you well, you assume that that person is like that. Now, that's the way people relate with companies. When they see a design and the design is not that good. Right now, design is very important and people are actually looking out for companies that matter. If your company is the best and you have the best products, but your design is not matching up to the standard of your company, people will think your company is probably like a shabby company and they will not want to partner with you. But when you have a great product and you have a great design to follow up with that product, to promote your product, and everything is looking very dandy and looking very sharp, they will think, wow, these guys are making sense, let's partner with them. Some companies don't even have what half of the big companies have, but because their design is looking so good and chic, you realize that they are having more customers, more clients, more people are coming to them because they've sold the impression that they look like a big company, and now people want to work with them. Moving forward, why is graphic design important? Graphic design helps businesses stay ahead of competitors. Graphic designing is necessary for any business looking to stay ahead in the competition. It involves creating content in an innovative way that may solve a problem or promote an idea. Now, moving back to why businesses need graphic design, it's necessary for any business looking to stay ahead in the competition. Now, if my business and your business is in competition and I'm trying to win you, if my design tops your design, by far people will come my way because my design has just beat your own design. Now, we see companies changing designs every single time. We have the example of the Pure Bliss biscuits. Now, they upgraded their design because they started realizing that people were already pirating their stuff and they wanted to look different. So they had to change. So this thing helps companies stay ahead in competitions. It helps them be ahead of their competitors. So you have to, as a business, as a graphic designer, you have to know that whenever a business is reaching out to you, they are reaching out to you because they want to stay ahead of the competitors, and you want to give them that edge by providing them with a good design that is better than the competitors. A tip in research is also researching the competitors. Okay, what design are they using? Let's find a way to top their own and make our own look better than theirs. So moving forward, why is graphic design important? Graphic design is important because it helps in building credibility. It helps in building credibility. Graphic designing is important for any business who wants to build credibility in their respective field. A good content that solves the problem of the audience, and this will make them trust your advice and start to regard you as an expert in the field. Now, building credibility is like building trust. Now, if a brand has a good graphic design and it warms the heart of people that are looking at it, they would think that you guys are the best. They will think that you guys are top notch. They will trust you much better. Now, graphic design even there's also a field of psychology that you have to study while doing graphic design, because it works with the brain and the way people think. It's also like emotional manipulation and things like that. So when your design is looking very top notch, there are people that don't buy things that are cheap. There are people that only go for Gucci, they go for the top best things because of the design and the way it's being packaged. So when your designs are looking like this, it helps build credibility with customers, and they are like, oh, I like this guy because his design is very nice and cheap. So good graphic design helps customers or helps companies build credibility in the market. Moving forward, I got this idiom while I was researching for this presentation. I was like, oh, I like this, and I have to like share with you guys. It says a picture is worth 1,000 words. For businesses, graphic designing is worth $1,000. Now, a company can have the best products, have the best marketing team, have the best everything, but if their graphic design is bad and poor, they have just lost money. They have lost a lot of money. Now, graphic designing for a business that has the best products and the best services takes the business to a whole other level, because it sells the business, people trust the business, and they have made more money. So we should not think of ourselves as just people that are just making flyers and making logos. You are actually adding value to the business. If the business doesn't have a good graphic design, they are going to lose money, and you as a graphic designer should leverage on that. So moving forward, who needs graphic design? For like right now, you should already be thinking of the answer to this question. Who needs graphic design? But essentially, anyone who has something to sell, be it a business owner, doctor, dentist, school, even artists themselves, they all have some message they want to send to the world. A graphic designer is their key to bringing their message to the wider world. It's very plain right here. Anybody that has something to sell needs a graphic designer. Dentists need graphic designer. Artists, music artists, they need graphic designer. If you have the best song in the world and your graphic design is whack, people would not listen to your song. So everybody needs a graphic designer. So we as graphic designers should have this in mind and leverage on that, because you are adding value. You are building like a ship that carries their product into the market, and if the ship that you build for them is not nice and it's not really good, they have lost money. If it's very nice, they will have you've increased their revenue, you've added value to their company. Moving forward, this is just saying long gone are the days where graphic designers only had wood and ink to use. Now they have computers to make memorable designs that can completely transform a business. This is just saying that back in the days, graphic designers use all these paints. Like they will use paint, they will draw with their hands, they will do all these things in order to make a design, a billboard, and things like that. But right now, we don't do that anymore. We have softwares that we can use to do design. We have software that we can use to do motion design. We have softwares that print large scale. Have you ever thought about the printer that prints all these billboards? That is the evolution of technology being at work here. So right now, we don't have to go and get paint and all this brush and wood and ink in order to make a design. We just have to install the software on our system, get a client, and then start working. It's that easy. So role of graphic design. Now this mainly just talks about the role of graphic design, which is boot sale. We've talked about what graphic design does for a company. We've established the company, like does for the company in the essence that we are providing value to the company, and whichever design you give a company is either going to make the company lose sale or increase the sale of the company. Establish the company. This mainly has to do with credibility. You know, when people see a nice design, they see something that they love, they trust that company, and they want to work with that company. You know, this thing works with the brain, it works with the eyes. People don't see, the design doesn't talk, but when they see it, they're like, wow, this is nice. Immediately something happens in their mind whereby they just want to partner with you because they like the way you combined your design, they like the way you use your colors. So design has a way of working in people's minds. So if you do your job right, you are actually going to draw people in and get their credibility. Now, establish trust and goodwill is almost the same thing as building credibility and establishing the company. A good design helps people trust the company better. Now, send out brand message. This has to do with branding, has to do with, look at MTN. MTN is a good example. If you see yellow anywhere, first thing your mind goes to is MTN. I don't know, well, my mind goes to MTN first of all. Or even if you see an MTN sign somewhere, the next thing you're looking for is yellow. If you see MTN yellow umbrella on the road, probably MTN is on one side somewhere. So that's the way branding works. It helps create like a consistent brand. It helps people recognize, like attribute things to your company. Even Coca-Cola, if you see red, you're probably thinking about Coke. If you see the logo, you're probably thinking about Coke. So those are the ways graphic design influences the minds of people and then captures them as a credible customer. Moving forward, we're going to explore the types of graphic design now because there are various types of graphic design, and there is a whole concept about being a specialist versus a generalist. Now, it is much better for you to be a specialist than a generalist, because people trust specialists much better than generalists. Generalists are people that are involved in all types of graphic design. Well, as a graphic designer, you should know about all the types of designs and be able to work with all types of designs, but let people know you as one type of designer, so whenever they think of this job, it is you they are coming to meet, because they trust people that are more into one type of design. For example, would you like somebody that teaches all subjects to teach your son mathematics because your son is failing in maths, or you like someone that is very grounded in maths, that's been teaching it for 10 years? Who would you trust? You will mostly trust the guy that's been teaching maths for 10 years rather than somebody that is teaching it for teaching English, teaching economics while he's still teaching maths. So that's the way it works. You want to establish yourself as a specialist in one certain field so that you can grow from there and people can attribute that field to you. Now, moving on to the types of graphic design, we have the visual identity designer. Visual identity graphic design has to do with the visual elements of brand identity that acts as the face of the brand to communicate those intangible qualities through image, shapes, and colors. Basically, what this means is that when you step into a company, companies, this has to do with companies. Companies have letterheads, they have logos, they have envelope, they have biros and things like that. So this designer mainly works with all the things that the customer will see, that they will use to attribute this thing to your company. That is where the visual designer sits down. That is where he mainly thrives. Now, the company will have some companies have Jota. Now, some companies have Biro, some companies have ID card. Those things that the customers will see and say, okay, like this is MTN's Jota, this is MTN's Biro. Those things, those are where this visual identity designer will sit. Those are the kind of designs they do. Things that the customer will interact with and attribute to the company. Those are the things that they design. So they mainly work with businesses, they mainly work with brands, they mainly work with companies that have to do with like visual things, like all those things that those customers will see and be like, this is let me use their biro. On their biro there's their logo on it. That's a visual identity designer at work. So the next type of graphic design is marketing and advertising graphic design. Now, this design, it helps organizations promote and communicate more effectively. Now, this is one of the most popular field of design, because advertising and marketing is mainly what graphic design is used for, or is highest what graphic design is used for. Now, this design mainly just promotes the company. They are done in order to market and advertise the company. So it explains itself in the sense that whenever someone meets you as a graphic designer, I want to do this, I want to do that, it's in order to market his or her product. So these designers mainly work with companies, work with people in order to build a design or create a design to market a certain product or service. The next type of design is user interface graphic design. Now, this design has to do with designing for screens in the sense that they design for mobile screens and computer screens. Now, what is going on in these mobile screens? the apps that you use. A graphic designer, which is a UI designer, designed the way the icons should sit on the screen. Now, there's a new trend. People don't want their apps to look bulky, they don't want it to look shabby, they don't want it to look anyhow. So they hire a UI designer in order to arrange the elements on the screen. This is a new trend in the industry right now, and people are actually gravitating towards it. So it's mainly designed for screens, and like the website, in order for the box to sit well, the buttons, a graphic designer, a UI designer put all those things there, and so it aligns it well so that, okay, there's no too much bulkiness, no too much space, everything is well spaced, it's not disturbing the eyes of the viewer. So this is a trend in the industry right now, a new field whereby people design for screens and mobile phones and websites. It's very important that you research more on this. So moving on to the next type of graphic design, we have the publication graphic design. Now this is saying publications are long form pieces that communicate with an audience through public distribution. Now this is mainly the designs for magazines, the designs for newspapers, designs for mainly print designs. So these guys mainly run print designs, and now because of the way the world is changing, people don't want to go out and things like that. This is not only going to be printed form. Designs like this are also moving into digital form, in the sense that they are now e-books, they are now e-books, mainly e-magazines and things like that. So these guys mainly design like e-books, cover page, front cover page, inside brochures and things like that. So it's a type of design that you can also specialize in order to forward your career as a graphic designer. Okay, the next type of graphic design we'll be talking about is packaging graphic design. Now, reading from my screen, packaging design communicates directly to the customer, which makes it an extremely valuable marketing tool. Every box, bottle and bag, every can, container or canister is a chance to tell the story of a brand. Now, this type of design mainly has to do with the product, the packaging of a product. It mainly has to do with the packaging of a product. These are designs made for companies that has to do with creating, that sells things in packages. For example, the mini-me, the munchies, all that package design right there is done by a package designer. This is a type of design that you can also specialize in. Now, you will see some innovative I've seen some innovative designs that are done for packaging that actually tells the story of the brand more. When people see this kind of thing, it establishes trust and establishes credibility in the company. People love the brand more and they want to patronize that brand more. You would agree with me that the reason why some people are loving Coke the more is because Coke has a consistent brand. Coke has a way of flipping their designs to make people love them. Now Pepsi is coming in right now trying to kick them off because of the way it looks, because of the way it's being branded. All these things are done intentionally. So you have to know that it's a type of graphic design that you can also specialize in. It deals with the packaging of a product. The next type of graphic design is the motion graphic design. This is actually a new trend in the industry. It wasn't a trend before because people had to go to a huge building, you had to have a lot of money in order to do motion graphic. But now, because of the technological advancement, you don't have to do that anymore. You can do a motion design using After Effects on your laptop. Now, this is a quick definition of motion graphic is graphic in motion, graphic that moves. Normally you say graphic, it doesn't move. A normal graphic design is just text on paper, picture and things like that. But motion graphic design, those texts will move. It will do one or two things. Now this is a type of graphic design that you can also specialize in, and you can also be a specialist in, and then render your services as a motion graphic designer. Now, moving forward, the next type of graphic design is environmental graphic design. Now, this type of graphic design helps people to connect with places. A great example of an environmental graphic design is the designs done for things like Champions League, World Cup, events. All these type of designs help people to feel part of the event. They help people to have a memorable experience of the event. Now, this type of design is not that common in Nigeria, but I feel it will be a trend as time goes on. These guys work mainly with architectures. They work mainly with people that understand buildings and things like that. You will find this kind of design in museums too. So what they do mainly is to make space more memorable, interesting, informative, and easier to navigate. Like the picture on our screen right now, you will see colors on the ground. The colors on the ground is definitely leading people to where they want to go. Like this now, with the colors on the ground, you can find your way to the accounting department, you can find your way to the auditing department just by following the colors on the ground, and it makes the experience of the building more memorable, more fun, and makes it more enticing. This is a trend, a new trend. I don't think it's in Nigeria yet, but you can also specialize in this type of design and then forward your career as a graphic designer, as an environmental graphic design. The next type of graphic design is the art and illustration for graphic design. Now, these guys are mainly confused with graphic designers. Now, like I said, a graphic designer's job is to create a design that solves a problem for the company or the person that is hiring them. These designers don't have to have a problem in order for them to create a design. All they have to do is catch a vibe or have a feeling, or they are mainly artists, but they don't use paint, brush, and stencil in order to do their design. They are artists that works using a tab, they work using their system, but they all come up with original designs, original concepts. They don't have to have a problem in order for them to create a design. They create original pieces, they create original artwork, and through the use of a system or a tab or whatever they want to use to design. But they don't have to create a design to solve a problem. They mainly just have to catch a vibe, have a feeling, and then just start designing. Now, moving forward, in the next class, we'll be talking about the basic principles of designs. These are the principles that guide the graphic design, and we'll be talking about the tools used for graphic design, which is Photoshop, that I'll be explaining a little bit about in the next video. All these things will be covered in the notes, so I urge you to read the notes and then follow through. Thank you. See you in the next class.